Welcome back, everybody, to The Creative Moment, Season 11, Episode 6. Over halfway now through our 11th season, so Episode 116 or whatever it is. Dante Bullhauer, Jamie Bullhauer. I'm a photographer, videographer. He's a writer, poet, and we talk all things creativity on this show. If you're new here and this is the first episode you're watching, so let's...
I forgot the mic again. Sorry. It's been busy. It's been crazy. We're about to be in summer mode.
So today we are talking about income and what that does to you as an artist, whether it affects you. What kind of he'll set the stage.
I'll set the stage.
But basically, we're talking about a study that he read, and how income and artistry and your passionate creative works kind of all meld together.
Yes, and so we'll deep dive just a little bit into. So the study is coming out later, but an article summarizing it was in the Conversation in May, and it looked at a basic income program for artists in New York City. Okay, and it was spearheaded by the Creatives Rebuild New York and funded by the Andrew Mellon Foundation. And so they gave 2,400 artists across New York $1,000 a month, beginning in June 2022. So they basically broke up then what they recorded time-wise into three areas: artistic and cultural practices, which was their main art, basically. But anything that kind of connected, or if they're multimedia like you. So if I was a poet, this would be my area. When I wrote poetry, did things, commissioned, stuff like that. Other artwork, to where maybe they collaborated or have other things, a general. But then non-art work, which was obviously their part-time jobs, things along like that. So the three main categories. In that regard, okay, sometimes the artwork people did get commissioned and stuff, but alright, but that's a general idea. So what was interesting in regards of this, a couple of things, that the artist who did receive the payment spent almost 4 hours a week doing their artwork that they cared about. They spent almost 2.5 hours less on non-artwork. So basically their jobs. They cut back on their work so they could do, and the baseline for the whole year and stuff, that the income they reported at the end of the year was actually roughly $12,000 less, because they had received a guaranteed $1,000, and they obviously worked at least almost 3 hours, less, but over 2 hours less work to fund what they did. And in a sense, they summarize that basically the idea of this for the artist was that it kind of within work models, that people do work, and whatever work it's, but for the artists, that people will do or get paid less and things for work that they believe has value to themselves or to the world, and having them get at least a guaranteed $1,000 a month. Basically the studies showed that for artists, they're going to work less but create more.
This is interesting because I kind of relate it to my business, where if I knew that I would have $1,000 or whatever the amount would be a month, I would definitely explore the jobs that I was more passionate about over some of the other stuff I do. But if there weren't that $1,000 I mean, so it's kind of toys with like how much do we value our creativeness versus money or whatever.
Well, I value my creativity because I hardly get paid
So, like,
for anything I do.
I'm conflicted because I don't know, if it came down to brass tacks, I don't know what the number would be for me. There would be a number, but what the number would be for me to make less, to do more of what I loved. I don't know what that number would be.
That kind of touches last week a little bit about the career, like, where is the, I'm going to have enough money to be okay and build my, and what it didn't talk about family dynamic or anything like that. It just said that basically if you gave artists $1,000 guaranteed, they're going to work less jobs and create more. And because, so it didn't evaluate, if them. They did say that all of these artists, though, did have to, I believe, I think they had to make like something below $40,000 a year.
I saw it said they targeted low income artists.
It was lower income artists, so that's also an important aspect. It wasn't but yes, I can't remember. Sorry, you can read the article or look up the study, but. It wasn't rich, famous artists. These were all artists who had to work to do their creativity.
And there is a certain threshold that you cross. I don't want to go back to having to fight paycheck to paycheck, doing, even though I'm doing more of what I love. So, I don't know. It's a really interesting study. I also think because $1,000 for lower income artists is a bigger portion of what their yearly income would be, it means more. Oh, I have $1,000, like just here to play, not to play with, but that I know I'm gonna get. I'll just work on this stuff and hope that takes off, or hope I can start getting more.
But they used that, so that wasn't reported in what they made, and we are organic to a degree once we start talking. I want to say Sweden, but it's not. They just passed a basic income for artists for their nation. Like, if you're an artist, we're going to do something like this. And it was more than 1,000, like, in that regard. So that it would be, I don't know if I could find it quick enough. But to give them a chance to have a living as an artist, to allow them to be an artist.
Just as we're thinking about it kind of relates to me as, so like my Osceola hype video. I have more creative freedom in that hype video than probably most all the other hype videos, because he just super supportive of whatever. He just gives me a theme, lets me run with it, all that. None of my other clients listen to this. I do not charge him what I charge other clients, even though I typically do more work for Osceola for that video than other videos. Some it's just go to practice, shoot the hype stuff, whatever. I charge him less because I appreciate getting to be more creative in that video and it's more of connecting the passion and not like needing the money. I could charge him the same and I know he'd pay it or whatever, but I just kind of charge him less because he lets me take some creative liberties with my video that I don't know if he'll like, not like, whatever. And it's more about, okay, if I know I'm gonna get his business next year, I want to be able to have that project where I can just be passionate into doing what I love creatively with this video, versus if I just outprice myself and then I'm not stuck with, but just doing more generic hype video type things.
But I think that study kind of showed that, and that's the hard part as we deal, or especially as we have to deal with technology and other stuff, is we really sometimes want to put value on, this is what this costs, or this is what this values at. But that relationship, because I know and just enough now that like he is cool. That coach is like, yeah, I trust whatever you do. And he's like, that's not my world. I don't know how to, and that's like, yeah, you're the artist. So that value that you present there is built on that relationship. And to a degree, for at least for the near future, that you're always going to have that. That's the other part about being guaranteed. The artist knew that no matter what, they would have $1,000. Now in New York City, that doesn't pay for as much as we would like here. Oh my gosh, $1,000 a month.
Well, not more really. But
that's true. But I would be at the Blue Moon writing like all the time because I'm old enough, like 108 years old, to retire, and people are like, oh, aren't you gonna sub? What do you think? Like, no. I'm headed to the Blue Moon. I'm sitting there for hours. I'm gonna write. I'm gonna do all that stuff. And creativity, time, passion, though, is hard to put a value on. Like a monetary saying, okay, and to a degree as a teacher, I do to a degree have a guaranteed income. But
I was just gonna say it's similar, not apples to apples, but like a creative 9 to 5. How much of your creativity are you willing to sacrifice for what dollar?
Well, that's the problem. I sacrifice a lot of time as a teacher, and yes, summers help me recharge and stuff. But my novels, my big stuff takes. I just don't get it. I don't get it done, and it kind of sucks, and it's kind of a negative spiral that I have to deal with. Poetry, though, I can do, and then public can get collections out. But I would take less. I would take less money if I was allowed to.
And like typically with some of the projects that I care about more that I really want, I underprice myself all the time, honestly, which is an annoying habit that I do. But it's hard. It's hard talking about money stuff.
It is.
But the stuff that I really want to get because I know it'll be creatively fulfilling, I will be super flexible. I will underprice myself. So in a way, it's kind of the same thing. I know I could probably price this and get it through negotiations, but because I really want to do it, and the fulfillment of doing that project will fulfill me more than getting the paycheck in the mail or whatever. It's not like getting $1,000,
but it is. But you get the job.
Yeah.
So which means, but here's the hard part in regards a little deeper side is what our culture, especially to a degree, American culture values in regards of any kind of art. Like in the poetry world, I forgot the poet's name. They got a chance to go to Germany on a poetry tour, and every stop they rode a train, and every stop people were waiting to meet them, and they were like, this would never happen in America. It was a couple years ago, but still, just like, I can kind of see that. But I think America, to a degree, monetary value is such a big thing. Like it's tagged to almost anything anybody does, and to kind of break from or try to navigate that, it's, on your end, I can understand the challenge of saying I cannot hand you a poem and go, that's worth $15. Like I know if you check out my prices of my books versus other people's on like Amazon, mine are way less than what other people are charging. But I'm all like, well, I get a little bit here. I'd rather people could, buy it or would buy it and read it instead of, oh, well, that's a poetry book. That's so.
Yeah. Living on this income,
which is different than me.
Yeah. It is harder to just, I would say if I were to get paid $1,000, I would just. I have a lot of debt right now, given this house, but I don't know. Again, like I think there's a number that I would work less on jobs to do more of just what I love. I don't know what it would be. Because I think I would just, I'm already getting this money, now I can just compound on it and then, buy new equipment or build well or whatever it is. And that's part of the psychology of if you're already not making enough, a small amount of money can change your mindset a lot more, where like $1,000 is not that much money I need to make a lot more than that per month to even pay to run a business. I paid myself $27,000 last year. Like that's welfare money. It's what I paid myself. I spent like $80-something thousand last year. So I don't know if it would make me work less or just make me work harder on jobs because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I've gotten into a cycle of just not chasing the money, but if it's somewhat creative, it's monetary, just do it because you'll enjoy maybe some of it, like 10% of it. Like, no offense, but a documentary about a dental practice does not fill my bucket that much. I don't know. Maybe it's just a flaw of mine. Maybe I need to work on just doing more of what I love because it is a lot more fulfilling just to do stuff that you enjoy and not have to face if you're just getting money just to create, you don't have to face the pressure of what that creation looks like or how it's received by clients and that type of stuff. Whereas when you're actually getting paid by someone and they expect a certain product, there's a whole lot more pressure and stress that goes into that, and then it becomes this whole big thing. So maybe I would. I don't know. I'm going back and forth a little bit because there are certain jobs that I would charge like $1,000 for that there's no way I would take if I knew I was just getting $1,000 because I don't think I'd enjoy it at all.
Yeah. Well, and I think the nuts and bolts of the study shows that people creatives, artists, painters, poets, writers, whatever, give them a little bit because they still had to work. It wasn't like they didn't quit their jobs. They just spent almost 2.5 hours less a week and almost double that in doing the things that they really enjoyed. Now the other artwork, that middle section, which the full study is coming out in something else. This was a summarizing article about a journal of cultural influence or something. And so they didn't really talk about that middle. That's maybe that's the commission area or stuff like that. That didn't really seem to change. It was, I don't have to work as much. I'm going to go do what I love. And it'd be an interesting overall aspect of life. And maybe American culture more than other cultures. Again, I just know, I have friends on X and stuff that talk, but yeah, give me a little bit, I know that this is guaranteed, and without the stress also of other things of what I would actually be able to produce or write or,
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you want to get paid for your time spent on anything or see some ROI, whether it's emotional, financially, or whatever.
Yeah.
I should have read that article. I read a lot more. It's very interesting. It just is. I'm just trying to think what my number would be that I'm just gonna go do what I love more. And I do the problem is I do enjoy most of what I do most days. I just know I would enjoy if I got $5,000 a month, I would just be traveling all over trying to sell landscape prints or videos for resorts or whatever. But if it was I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of it is a study about the basic income theory, which is that's something else totally. But to a degree, for artists, and I'm kind of getting more into indie bands lately and stuff, and a little bit kind of a backlash against AI. Meaning that I'm just like, I'm getting back into these people who are actually really making art. And like, I could just imagine if they, as musicians and stuff like that, just kind of had a base. It doesn't mean they're going to go sell out arenas, but well, it kind of relates. Like, they would probably they would have the time and the energy and not so much the stress, the worry that kind of comes.
It kind of makes me think about daddy's money type things. Those people, I know friends or just other people in the space. My dad has a production company. So I have this super nice camera, and I don't need to worry about paying off the loan on my camera. Or I can just create whatever I want, and if it happens to make, money or whatever, get engagement, that type of stuff, I can do that, but I don't have to worry about the monetary aspect of it. And like friends that just start these random, Instagram pages or random ventures. I want to be, I want to learn how to play guitar, and I want to try and be like a guitar player in a band. If you have the security blanket, you don't feel that pressure, and you just do what you love, and you don't really think about anything else. Yeah. That's not where I'm at. I don't have that. I someday.
But I don't know. It just I think artists maybe should just have, I don't know.
It's a lot easier said than done. I wish they would do that study in Nebraska, but
that would be an intro, and obviously, like, New York City has a much more vibe. Heck, even, I think, to a degree, sometimes if we lived in Lincoln or Omaha, my poetry and stuff path might be different. I'm stuck in the middle of Nebraska, like, in the middle of and we don't do open mics here anymore. We don't do, any of that stuff. And it just,
well, it's similar. So we have Big Idea Hastings where they give grant money. It's kind of similar to that. You have a certain amount of money, just go pursue a passion or whatever. And I know some that have succeeded. I know some that haven't. I don't know if that's directly correlated to their passion for whatever they're doing, but I think it just comes down to if you have a little bit of security.
A little bit. And that's makes a big difference.
Yeah. And no expectation of standard. Because there are some things that I create that I'm just trying something. They're usually not paid jobs, which again goes back to just what we're talking about, but that don't work. I'm like, that was stupid. That was a bad idea. It just didn't work. And there's some that I'm like, that's really, really cool. I don't try those as much when I have the expectation of delivering product on this brand. Where if I knew you're getting $1,000 whether nobody watches this video or everybody watches the video, I would probably take more creative liberties towards that. So, like most of the time, I'm kind of stuck in the middle on this debate. If you guys have any thoughts, we will link that article down in the description of our YouTube video and our, when we blast it out on the podcast platforms. So if you have any thoughts about any of this, whether it's something we talked about or just something in the article that maybe we didn't address, let us know. We love to engage in conversation. I saw our last video got a little bit of feedback on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we'd love to connect with you guys in any way, shape, or form. So with that, this was The Creative Moment, Season 11, Episode 6. Again, you can find us on all the platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those things. And yeah, we will see you guys in a couple weeks.